Hey guys, Sydney with the Rag Company, and today we are going to be going over the wash clay seal process. Now I know we did this video a while ago, but I have some new procedures that I happen to like a little bit better, and it's been a good minute since we did it. So we are going to do a decon and then the wash clay seal. So the only difference this time is that I'm going to be using a rinseless wash as my contact wash. So the products I'm going to be using today, we're obviously going to clean the wheels and tires, then we're going to foam on a decon soap, get a lot of the dirt off this vehicle first. Then we're going to use that rinseless wash in a bucket with the rinseless sponge. Then we're going to do the wash clay seal process, and then we'll finish it off with drying it, putting on tire shine, fixing up the windows. And the goal is still to do this all in under an hour. So I will be utilizing the timer again for you guys, just to make sure that we get it knocked out in time. So with that said, let's get after the wash. The first step in cleaning a car is cleaning the wheels and tires. So I went ahead and did that off camera just because it's not really pertinent to this video, but of course we had to do it. So I did add that into my timer though. So for these wheels, it took me 9 minutes and 50 seconds. Keep in mind, I do this every single day. So I probably clean wheels faster than a lot of people. And especially if you're doing your own car, people love to clean their wheels, so feel free to take as much time as you want. So wheels and tires are clean. Let's walk through the process really quick and then we'll get into it. So I'm going to rinse the vehicle. It is super dirty. Not sure if you can see that on camera, but it is really dirty. Not a lot of like exterior buildup, but definitely like ingrained dirt. So I'm gonna rinse it. Then I'm going to use a decon soap and a foam cannon. We're gonna let this dwell for a minute so that it lifts the dirt away from the surface. We'll give that a good rinse. And then this is where I'm gonna switch things up. I'm gonna use a rinseless wash today. The reason I wanna use this is I'm gonna use this for my contact wash. The reason being is I wanna use the lubricants from the polymers in a rinseless wash as part of my clay lube, just to make sure that we're keeping it really safe on the surface, especially when you're doing like a full detail and we really wanna make sure we eliminate any chance of marring. This way we've got the polymers in the rinseless wash and then polymers in our sealant to make sure that we're doing this the safest way possible. And then of course we will spray our sealant, do our clay, we'll dry it, and then we'll be mostly done except for our final touches like tire dressing, clean windows, and all that fun stuff. So let's get into rinsing the vehicle. So I started rinsing this, but I wanted to point this out that it's kind of cool. And I know everybody always questions, are the cars really dirty? So what I want you to watch is when I spray the top and the bottom. And so the top is less contaminated, so we're getting more of that beading action, and the bottom where the dirt and contamination is just goes totally flat. So we have the car rinsed, so now I need to get my foam cannon ready. This is gonna be quick and easy. I'm going to dunk this in my bucket. This is prior to me putting the rinseless wash in my bucket. So this is just clean water at this point. So we're just gonna fill it up enough. And then we need to put 1 to 3 ounces of this decon soap in here. So I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna use 3 because like we saw, this car is pretty dirty. All right, get that back on. And then what we're gonna do is we're gonna foam the entire car and then we're gonna let it dwell for a couple minutes because this is where we need it to start breaking that dirt away from the surface. So we have the whole car with the decon foam on it. Like the directions say, we're gonna let this sit for a good couple minutes because we want it to start breaking down that dirt and lifting it away from the surface. So while I'm waiting for that, I'm gonna go ahead and get my rinseless bucket ready. So in here, it looks like I've got about 3.5 gallons of water. So I'm gonna actually use 4 capfuls of the rinseless wash, which is standard dilution, 256:1, which most of them on the market is going to be 1 capful equals 1/2 ounce. That makes it easy, but of course you always wanna double check the manufacturer, whichever one you are using. So we're gonna get that in there, grab my sponge. We'll get that worked around in the water, and then this way our bucket is ready to go for time efficiency.
Are you subscribed to the Rag Company YouTube channel? Because if you're not, you should be. 90% of the people who are subscribed to this channel have cleaner cars. You do the math. I didn't.
So obviously this process is pretty easy to get our bucket ready. So let's walk over to the car now. We have about a minute left on letting it dwell and kind of start lifting that dirt away. So as you can see on the dirty parts, it's already kind of shed the foam, and up here it's kind of hanging around a little bit longer. But as this foam drips down the side, that is helping pull that dirt away from the surface. Also, if you happen to notice when I foamed it, I usually start at the bottom so that as the foam is running down, I don't want the foam to run down on dry panels, because depending on what kind of soap you use, that could leave some streaking. So if you start at the bottom, when the top runs through it, no harm. Do you always have to do this step? Absolutely not. So I always gauge when the cars come into my shop, how dirty is the car? Typically, if the car's not super dirty, you don't need to do this process. So like everything that I talk about in detailing, it's all about efficiency. So do you need to do this step or not? You be the judge of that. For this car today, we absolutely needed to do it. So the pressure is on. Like I mentioned, we had to do this extra step. So it's been 3 minutes. Now I'm gonna rinse the car, go straight into my rinseless wash. We're gonna knock out the clay seal portion. So we're gonna give this a good rinse. Usually when we're talking about rinsing off foam, you know, we don't have to be 100% perfect in our rinse if we're going back with a soap contact wash, but we need to keep in mind in this process, since we are using our rinseless wash, we do need to get all of the soap bubbles off of there. So I paused again because I wanted to point something out. So as we can tell, we did the rinse and the decon soap didn't necessarily get all of that embedded dirt out of there. It got all the surface dirt off, but this is actually like embedded into the paint. Doing this process, the wash clay seal, is a lot like going to see your hygienist at your dentist office, which we usually do like, you know, once or twice a year. We brush our teeth every day, like we wash our cars once a week, but eventually we have contamination or plaque that builds up, and we have to go to a specialist to have that actually removed with the right tools. So the wash clay seal is like going to the hygienist, where this contamination is holding on to that dirt. So no matter what soap we put on here, without doing a contact wash, this dirt is not coming off. For my customers and ceramic coating maintenance, I do once a year or every 12,000 miles. That is also going to depend on what is your last step product. When just using, say in today's case, we're using bead maker, you're probably going to get about 3 months protection out of that. So if you're not using a higher infused ceramic sealant, you will maybe want to do this more often. Also, where you live is going to affect this. So you have the car all rinsed. We kind of went over all the dirt that is still remaining. So now we're going to tackle that with our contact wash, which again, we are using rinseless wash in our bucket. I have a rinseless sponge, but for the roof, I am going to use the Mitt on a stick just to get the solution spread up there, and then I'll get up there and do the clay and seal by hand, but this will make this portion a little bit faster. And when we are on a time crunch, we got to figure out where to save all of our time. As I'm starting this, we are about 22 minutes in. So we are going to start moving through this process. The Mitt on a stick is so nice to be able to get the roof and not have to climb up on step stools as much as possible. As we know with other, you know, rinseless wash, your wash media can vary. So you can use the rinseless sponge, you can use a microfiber mitt, or even towels. So this is just like a microfiber wash mitt. So it's the same, you know, soft material, super safe, totally okay to use with the rinseless solution on the roofs for sure. I am actually going to break this car up just like I do at home into different sections. So on the last video, we had some questions about, do you wet the whole thing and clay it all at one time? What happens when the one side dries before the other? So what I do, even though I do work inside in climate control, I still break it up by section. So if you're outdoors working and you know it's drying on you too fast, just do one panel at a time. This is the other reason why I like to use this method, is you have a little bit more working time than with just plain water. If it dries, it's a polymer, so you just re-wet it, right? And so it's just a lot nicer to use this method. And the other reason that I like it is we could work just panel by panel if we wanted to. Since we are inside, I'm going to do 4 sections. I'm gonna do the passenger side, the rear, driver's side, and then the front end. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna get that all washed, then I will grab out my clay media and the sealant as our clay lube. We'll complete the entire wash clay seal on this side and then dry it and move on to the next section. You guys got to check this out. So this part was where I already went over with the rinseless wash, and look at how actually dirty this car is. So obviously we can see that a lot of what this car needed was contact. Now, I know you probably can't see it on camera, but I can definitely see that there is still that contamination that I was telling you about, definitely embedded into the paint. Usually what I do is I do the top half with one side, then I just flip my sponge or my wash media, whatever I'm using. And this gives me basically 2 clean sides to do one entire panel. Okay, and we'll do the rear quarter and then we'll start our clay process. So now what we want to do is we want to get our clay media soaking and grab our sealant, which today I'm going to be using Bead Maker. There's probably a lot of sealants on the market that you can use. My favorite's still going to be Bead Maker though. I just feel like it has so much lubricity in it. So my only advice here is make sure when you're choosing what sealant you're going to use, make sure that it's intended for this purpose. There is a lot of great sealants out there that just don't quite have the lubricity to be used as a clay lube. So just make sure you're using the right one. I am going to be using both the clay towel and the clay scrubber. They both are going to do the same job. This is just personal preference. So we've got this whole passenger side, and I am going to use actually the scrubber today because there is, you know, still some matter, bugs and things. And what's nice is you can flip it over and have the bug scrubbing material on the other side. So I'm going to use the scrubber today. So we're just going to do, you obviously, when using it as a clay lube, you do want to use a little bit heavier concentration than you do when you're just applying it as a sealant. So I'm going to say probably 10 sprays per panel, maybe more if you feel like there's a lot of contamination. And I don't know if you guys can hear this, but it's really nice when you're doing this process because you can hear and feel it through the towel. The feedback is really good. And you can hear it audibly and also feel it through your hands. And when you can no longer feel the contamination, that's when you know that you're good to go. So some areas you may only have to go over one time and other areas may be several. So what I'm doing is I'm just listening and feeling for that contamination. And then we'll rinse between each section. And like everything else, you just want to make sure you're using straight motions. Don't go in circles, don't scrub, don't force it. You know, let the synthetic clay do its work on its own. You don't need to scrub. So we still clay and seal the entire car. So even though there's glass, the clay still works great on glass. So this is just going to remove the contamination. This is going to help it not streak when you go to clean them afterwards, and make it nice and, you know, clear and shiny. So you always want to hit the glass with the clay as well. So we have this side done. So now I'm going to dry this side. And again, one of the nice things about using the rinseless wash is when we go to do the adjacent panels, we're not going to re-wet our original panels. So it's nice because we can kind of keep that sealant from, you know, streaking or drying too quickly on us by working in sections. So again, if you're working inside, climate controlled, I think you're easy to do, you know, the whole half of the car. If you're outside in the sun, you're a mobile detailer, you're washing your own car at home, maybe just stick to one panel at a time. Super easy. And what's nice about this too is now we are also not only using the sealant as a sealant, but we've now used it as a clay lube. And now it's actually working for us as a draining aid. So super cool. This is why I love this process. It's so efficient, so effective. The results are so good. My customers always think that I actually polished their car. That when they come pick it up, they always say, "Oh, I didn't know you were polishing." Just because it helps that natural gloss of the paint show through because we've removed that top layer of contamination. Now I'm gonna bust out the other sections of the car. I've got the roof, the hood, the trunk, and then the driver's side, and we will be set. Okay, so now that we're on the hood, there is, I can feel as the person running the clay, I can feel that there's a lot less contamination. So this should go a little bit faster because I really only need to go over it 2 or 3 times. I don't need to do, you know, the 6, 7 swipes with the clay unnecessarily if I'm not feeling the contamination. So at this point, what we're using the clay for is obviously to remove any contamination that might be there, but it also helps the sealant bond with the paint better when applying it with clay. So the hood, we're gonna be able to save a little bit of time. So we are at the last section. Normally, I always do this section last. I do still need to do the roof, but just for time's sake and steps and stuff, I'm gonna do the roof last. But normally on SUVs, I always do the rear at the end because it's usually the dirtiest and I don't want all that dirt in my bucket when I'm still working. So I'm gonna knock this part out. As we can see, it's super, super dirty. Then I'll get up and do the roof. I think we're about 40 minutes. I haven't looked for a minute or so. I'm gonna knock all this out. Still trying to get done in under an hour. really good section to point out exactly what we're doing here, where you can actually see. So see all these little black specks? These did not come off with the contact wash, you can see. So this is where the clay is gonna come in. We're gonna use the sealant as our clay lube. And then as we go over this area, it just takes all of those little black specks that are stuck to the paint. And if you think about it, this is what, when dirt flies up, those particles of contaminant just hold onto the dirt, making the car seem like it gets dirtier faster and or it does not get clean in the car wash. Okay, I need to pause. We hit it, what are we, 49 minutes, 39 seconds. So this turned out great. A couple things I do want to mention. So I have 10 minutes left. So in that 10 minutes, I'm going to put tire dressing. I'm gonna wipe down the wheels real quick. They should be pretty good. And then the glass, because we clayed it with the bead maker, it should be pretty good to go, but I am gonna go back over with some glass cleaner just to make sure I didn't leave any streaks. So not like fully involved window cleaning, just kind of touching up. So I should have plenty of time to do that. A couple other things I want to mention that came up in the last video was people said, does this cause marring or damage to your vehicle? And no, it doesn't. I'm sure that on like a very microscopic level, it could. But let's talk about the types of vehicles we're doing this service to. It's usually daily drivers. It's cars just like this. This service is perfect for this car. You know, this customer may not want like a full correction, may not want perfect paint because they drive this to work every day. It's a daily driver. The beauty in this is when doing this service as ceramic coating maintenance is the ceramic is obviously a lot stronger than clear coat. And it doesn't usually hold on to contamination as much. So like when I talked about on the hood of this car, you may only have to go over it 1, 2, 3 times. And so we're really not causing that much abrasion to the paint. This is the safest wash you can do. So I'm gonna hit start on my timer again. I'm gonna knock out the tires, touch up the glass, and then we'll be back to finish this thing off. Okay, what did we end up at? 57:41. I still had a couple minutes to spare. Very good. So we got everything done. I touched up the glass. I got the tires. The one type of vehicle that I would say maybe I would err on the side of caution would be show cars. So something recently painted, perfectly corrected. Those type of vehicles don't need this massive decontamination process. So it's just not worth that, you know, even though it's a very little risk, it's not worth the risk of using the clay on those. It's just not necessary. Again, always want to be efficient. However, that said, the rinseless wash portion that we did do is a great way to take care of those cars. Super easy, very little water is introduced, super safe for the paint, where the polymers encapsulate that dirt, lift it away from the surface, literally gives you, zero chance of marring or scratching. So still one of my favorite ways to take care of classic cars. You can check out a video right here where we explain how to do that. And I hope that this version of this video kind of answered some of the questions, showed you a little bit different way, the way that I do it in my shop every day. I hope this helped you get a little bit different perspective and a little bit different result with this wash clay seal process. It's a little bit different than the last one we did. This is the way that I do it in my shop every day. We have a lot more educational content scheduled for this year, so make sure you're subscribing to the Rag Company YouTube channel. Give us a like on this video, share with a friend, and we will catch you on the next one.